The respected Additional Chief Secretary to the Government of Tamil Nadu, Kumar Jain, the CEO of iTNT Hub, Palanivel Gopal, the many friends and partners here from industry, from startups, from funding institutions, banks. I see so many people I know here. The members who sat with the earlier roundtable on the policy development, distinguished guests, industry leaders, innovators, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for being with us today at this first iTNT Industry Conclave, which we see as a curtain raiser for our upcoming events. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But for too long, we have in many ways not realized the potential of our youth, of our system, of our educational model, of our culture. We have been developing talent much faster than we have been deploying and utilizing it. We have done a lot of offshoring and support work, but mostly at the lower levels of value addition. We have exported some of the best talent in the world who have gone on to do wonderful innovations and great things in other parts of India or the global economy. And I think the time has now come, especially with the Chief Minister's ambition of transforming Tamil Nadu into a $1 trillion economy, where we have to do all the things that everybody knows we need to do, which is to move up the value chain, which is to create the employment opportunity and entrepreneurship potential realization for many more of our youth, where they don't feel the need to take their careers in other places in India or overseas. We have many things going for us. We are a highly industrialized and highly urbanized state. We have good physical infrastructure, good global transport connectivity, good human connectivity because of our amazing diaspora around the world. And we have many examples of people who have gone on to do wonderful things, innovating, especially in the age of technology, which allows for rapid expansion, exponential scale expansion, which didn't exist in the more traditional economy. I used to work for a bank whose market value or whose share value went up about 20 times in 15 years, and that was considered kind of exceptional and amazing. Now we have tech companies that go from nothing to billions of dollars of valuation, hundreds or thousands of times valuation in a few years, because effectively, if you have a good product or a good solution, you can pretty much scale it around the world without a lot of infrastructure, without a lot of deployment of human capital. We were at the forefront at one point towards the end of the 90s. And the truth is, for various reasons across all parties, I'm not making this political, that we have allowed others to leapfrog us, and we have kind of slowed down by comparison. There is no staying stationary in this world. It is a competitive global economy, so either you're getting ahead or you're falling behind. Unfortunately, we haven't been getting ahead enough. But after this government came to office, we have realized the need to focus on entrepreneurship as a way of economic development and employment growth, and in particular around technology and innovation. And in initiatives like Startup TN, but more importantly in iTNT, which was relatively unique initiative co-funded by the Government of India and led under the vision of then Secretary Neeraj Mittal, who is now Union Telecom Secretary. We were able to make significant progress. Governments make policies all the time, at least two basic types of policies. One which is more incentive policy or a more standardized approach of providing subsidies and incentives for investors and companies so as to not be accused of one-sidedness or favoritism. And then regulatory and standardization policies to prevent bad outcomes and to ensure things like cybersecurity and so forth. So whenever we say the word policy in government, we can mean this or that or some of each. In the case of deep tech, I think the real bulk is in how can we incentivize, how can we support, how can we subsidize, how can we accelerate the development of such innovation in our state. And I think we have already talked about a technology product design scheme to create innovative products with global competitiveness, and also the possibility of a deep tech fund to provide capital to startups as they move from concept to marketable product. Now, we have had decent success in the government of Tamil Nadu over the last 2-3 years of providing capital investment, either seed investment or venture capital in focused areas, and we have ambitions to expand more through the TNI FMC Emerging Sector Seed Fund, which was started during my time there. But I think we can do a lot more. Without getting into too much detail, I will say that I think the government itself can be much more clear about its ambition and also about roles and responsibilities, and I'm hopeful that the Chief Minister will implement some of those structural clarifications in short order. But I also want to say that we will have an annual IP conclave called the Innovate in TN IP Conclave. It will start this year and it will be an annual event, and it will underscore the importance of intellectual property as a foundation for all innovation, but in particular deep tech innovation. As you may all know, that Chennai is still the #1 patent filing office in the country, and something like 25% of all patents approved in India come out of Chennai. Now, there are people that are market leading, there are people that are world leading. People like Professor Satya's companies, I think, are innovating at a level not seen anywhere else in the world, both in terms of costs as well as in terms of outcomes. But we also need to find innovative models of financing. Now, much of iTNT runs on CSR financing as well as some financing from the Government of India and the Government of Tamil Nadu. But I hope that as we get clearer and clearer about our platforms and our ambitions and the specific areas of focus, that we can also continue to engage with industry, with I see representatives from CII, from NASCOM, from many of the big BCCs and so forth here, to leverage not just your resources but your expertise and your market connectivity to help startups and to help incubated startups in particular, but also those who are going to benefit from this deep tech policy to scale up, to market test their products, to have first client or first customer kind of pilot possibilities, and broadly create the kind of ecosystem that will lead to some network externalities like we see in other parts of the world. With such a distinguished audience with so much experience across so many industries, I'm not sure that I have anything more profound to say. I'll just say that it's always a pleasure, and we don't do enough of it, of getting together those who are driving employment, driving industry, driving the sector forward in our state. And so events such as these, to me, are always a positive Every time I'm asked, should we do one, I always say yes, and always make sure that there's a good dinner and in a nice place, and there's a lot of interactions afterwards, because the state needs all the support it can get. In fact, the reality is that governments are not particularly good at micro. In fact, they're not even good at translating the macro to micro. Governments are reasonably good at setting macro policy. They're questionably efficient at executing macro policy. But they need a lot of support from a lot of experts and a lot of partners to do things at the micro level, and to learn from the micro level so that we can scale it up to the macro level from there. In that sense, all kinds of interactions where I see my HODs like Thirukannan of LCOT, Srikanth from ICT. I think at least as far as my department is concerned, I'm always happy when our government team members get to interact with industry, particularly in informal settings, and get the benefit of their insights and guidance as we shape our day-to-day plans and activities. So, and thank you all again for coming. I congratulate the three winners. I'm told that there were more than 500 applicants, so it's a big deal. I look forward to seeing your continued success, and I guess I'm here for a little while, right, for the interaction. Thank you very much. Good evening.